So, first off, thanks. Oh my goodness.
You're welcome.
I am honored to be able to just sit here and talk to you even. So, and if you don't know, which I don't know who wouldn't know, this is your American leather woman right here, Miss Jackie. So we're going to talk for a little bit. Okay. So I always start off out of pure respect by asking what your pronouns are.
Jackie.
You said that to me the other night.
Yeah.
So tell me about that if you don't mind.
I realize that there are parts of me that are girl. There are parts of me that are masculine. There are parts of me that are both. But all in all, each one, it's just Jackie.
It's just Jackie.
Just Jackie. Oh, what's your pronoun? Just Jackie.
That's cool. That's
just
cool.
Jackie.
That's smooth. That's smooth. Just Jackie. So, just Jackie. No, I'm playing. So you've been traveling a lot.
Yeah.
So those four corners I heard you talk about.
Yeah.
Have you hit them?
No, not quite. Not quite. The four corners of the U.S. that I wanted to hit was part of that personal goal that I got when I wanted to win, but that I wanted to do when I won this. And that was, so I've hit the Northeast. I've gone to Alaska. I've done Seattle and Portland. I just finished travel plans for San Juan, Puerto Rico, from Tampa. And then at the end of September, as a present to myself, taking myself to Hawaii.
I was wondering if that was coming in. Woo! So let's go back a little bit, though. A long bit. Let's go back a long bit.
Okay.
How, in your childhood, growing up, what was it about your childhood that you think led you to here, being a leather woman?
Weirdly enough, it would have to be my mother's boyfriend, Earl. He was, can we cuss on this thing?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Okay. He was an abusive motherfucker, very disciplined. And so my sister, my brother, and I would just get beat just almost daily with a leather belt. And it got to a point where I started to use that experience as a way to heal myself. But instead of being an abuser or doing it in any sort of destructive way, I know people that wanted that experience of being topped. And so I've never bottomed before this past April.
Wow. So
technically I bottomed back when I was a kid, though that was not consensual, but anyway, until this past April.
How was that?
It was a great experience because it was knife play and it very much put me and grounded me in my body. So that was a great experience for me. And it also has to do with trust. Part of the reason why I top the way I do is because of how I grew up, you know, checking in with someone, making sure that, you know, I am not only fulfilling their needs, but also mine, but at the same time being respectful of asking, hey, do you have any triggers? Do you have any sort of injuries I need to know about? Finding out about them and what it is they're looking for. So that is how I ended up here.
That's a pretty good place to end up, though, if you ask me. So I've heard, and I mean everybody's different in this. Do you think that helped you from your experience, that bottoming? Do you think that helped you at all? As far as, is there something that you could take from that to be a better top? Because I mean, there's one thing. There's a difference in being beat, and there's a difference in consensually bottoming.
Well, I think the being beat part just made me more aware and made me I don't want to call it a better top because that's not correct, made me more aware of consent and made me more aware of, hey, is it okay to do this? Is it okay to do it? Asking those questions. Mm-hmm. Having bottomed, I think, allowed me to be able to better communicate my needs, because it always is interesting. You walk up to someone and like, I want to play, but they don't have any idea what it is they need, what it is they're looking for, and just maybe they're new to the scene, maybe they're not. But going through what I call my questions helps, I think, them as well, but also me, as far as knowing how far to push them and how far not to push them. Once when I was at IMSL, it's my very first IMSL actually, I was playing with a woman, and we were having a great time, but there was just something a little off, and I didn't understand what it was. And I stopped. I said, okay, we maybe need to talk about some things. And that's when she broke down crying. And she said that her partner of, I can't remember how many years, a decade, whatever, had just left her. And I'm like, okay. And that sort of instilled in me this idea that there's a responsibility of a top to understand, hey, are you having any emotional, troubles or challenges that might come out? Perhaps we shouldn't play. But I just got this feeling that if I went much further with this woman, I would break her. And I'm like, that is so not what anybody should do or even wants to do. But yeah.
I tell people all the time, a lot of times new people, when they come into the scene and they want to play and they're excited, you teach them, ask all the questions, but a lot of times they don't know enough to ask all the questions. Mm-hmm. So as tops, it is our responsibility to go there, because they wouldn't think sometimes, like she probably didn't share with you that she had just the relationship issue. Sometimes people just don't know enough to present that to you. So my question list as each year progressed got longer and longer and longer. So it's good that you do that, and it's good that you had that experience with bottoming. I mean, so you took something from it, but did you enjoy it? I want to know did you enjoy it?
So it's a trust for me. I don't trust many people.
Yeah, me neither.
And so to trust someone to do that was huge for me. Each year I try to do something new and expand differently. Mm-hmm. I guess it was last year. Last year was preparation. It was a lot of going outside my boundaries. So I did like seduction for the first time. I did this title. And this year is the year of execution. So it was preparation. And then this is the execution year. And it's the, if you have the opportunity to expand yourself, why not? So I'm learning to open up and trust people and communicate. It's very rarely that I say no to things. Usually I'll say, can I have more information? Because I'm missing something if I automatically want to say no.
Right.
So, yeah.
So, in preparing for your title, what did you do to prepare for it?
So, for me, because it is a national title, I realized on the Mid-Atlantic, the East Coast, people know who I am. No one else does. Right? So I went out to IMSL. It had been like 10 years since I'd been to IMSL. Last time I went to IMSL, not only that one experience, but I found it cliquish and it was not a good time. I also went with someone who I didn't realize it. I don't think she did either. That was very sick. And we came back. She went to the hospital and never came out.
Oh.
And so that was traumatic. So I did IMSL. I tried to be more aware of things that were going around, the new title holders, finding out different events that I wanted to actually go to. So it was a little bit of sort of like doing little building blocks. You know, you have to get your name out there, you have to get your face out there. And at the same time, I also wanted to make meaningful, authentic connections. It's talking to people. It's one-on-one kind of thing. So I tried to travel and I tried to reconnect with people. At the same time, I was also looking at moving and trying to find a community that did what the Mid-Atlantic did and does. Didn't quite find it, but I found a whole lot of other people out there, and have just continued to build the community of friends and people that I can call on, and hopefully that can call on me and feel like they can. And I had this person, I had this whole team of people actually, when I finally decided to, okay, we're gonna do this. And I traveled up to Toronto and met with Patty, who was helpful for me. I had Max is also part of my team. And I had people online. So I was doing research, I was looking up questions, thinking of questions. For me, it was always about, you know, the pop question. Like, what do you do when you have a hula hoop, a flamingo, and 3 sets of knives? Do a scene and pick 4 judges or something like that. I'm like, oh my God, mental block.
Yeah.
It was horrible. So a friend of mine, she actually became a friend. She reached out to me and she said, hey, I hear that you're running. And then she would just sit there and just throw question after question after question at me. Interview questions. And I'm like, okay, I'm good on interview. Let's do pop question. Okay. And then she just, for days. So we did that for a good 3 months.
Wow.
And then I'm like, okay, I pretty much have opened up all little facets of my personality now. So I can pretty much answer any question people put to me sometimes. And it also helps, you know, getting out and judging, because you get to see new people and actually talk to them and see what they're about and see about the community. Because once you're actually in that community judging, you see who pulls together and you see what they want out of, you know, their title holder. Some people we just want you to stay right here and work in this community. Others, like, you know what, you're going to, you know, IML, ABW, etc. You know.
What did your producers expect of you? How did they want you to represent them?
ABW? So most of my main contact is Dean. Dean is absolutely fabulous. I said, Dean, can I have a sex party? He's like, hell yeah. I said, I'm like, score, check. And so I did. And it's not about, you know, being flashy or anything like that. It's about community building. It's about, you know, talking to people. It's about building the lesbian community and showing them that there's somebody out there that they can talk to, ask questions of, ask me to host stuff, whatever. Hey, Jackie, hey, come here. We're not going to have a contest, but just show up. I'm like, sure, let's do it.
So if you had fun.
Oh my God. I think I'm going to look back on this year and go, wow, I did a whole hell of a lot. There are things that I don't even remember doing anymore because I have to keep in my head my next month's calendar of, okay, this is what you need for this. this is what you need for that. And at the same time, also realizing that I'm balancing being a title holder, but also being a friend. Like, we happen to be home right now, right? I haven't been home, I want to say, in 3 weeks.
Oh, wow.
And the time before that was only 2 days, and I wasn't home for a whole month. So there are people like 3 doors down that are like, it's Jackie, haven't seen you.
Where you been?
Exactly. I see you on Facebook, but bring your ass over for dinner, damn it. So it's trying to find that balance. And they're my rock and my foundation.
Are you looking forward to some time off, though? Or you think you're going to miss it?
What time off, man? After I step down, step aside, whatever you want to call it, I've got two events. October is booked. November's looking booked. December's already booked. January, February, and March. What was that question again?
Yeah, exactly.
See?
Exactly.
I just won't have a title. Look, I won't have this. Oh. Otherwise, I'm just still doing it.
That's normally what happens with people. That's it, which is a wonderful thing. So. True. But I'm also sneaking in some downtime and all of that. You have to.
And that's what I'm realizing. I had given myself, when I started looking at my schedule, one weekend just had to be mine. Now, granted, I might not be home, but I'm relaxed, damn it.
So, are you in a relationship?
I am not. I was in a long-term relationship, six and a half years. Oh. And we broke up March of 2017.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, actually. I took a year of just remembering what it was like to be me and be alone, because at that point, it's always a we. And so I had to remember the I, and I had to remember, oh, what do I want? What do I want for dinner? Where do I want to go? And I did a lot of therapy, trying to heal from some things that had happened in my past, and started dating this past in June.
Oh.
Yes.
How's that going?
You know,
tell us all about it.
Well, it's different, right? Because the woman I'm dating is actually poly. And so I've never done poly before. And so that begets a whole plethora of things. There were 3 people that I realized that I wanted to get to know better, to date. And I asked all 3 of them, and they all said yes. Timing and space is the problem here. So the one that I started in June, it lives closer. Right. One's in Chicago and one's over on the West Coast. I also, within that year of sort of understanding myself, realized that I am demisexual. And for those that don't know, I need an emotional connection to someone in order to have a sexual connection with them. And so it's been difficult because I was having this conversation this weekend, actually. I had my cowboy hat on. Most people do not recognize me without the cowboy hat. So I'm just telling you now. Anyway, and I was asked, so have you ever kissed anybody in your cowboy hat, or have you ever had sex in your cowboy hat? I'm like, no. And she's like, well, I don't understand. What do you mean? No, I mean, I see you flirt, and I'm like, yeah, I am a top. I am a stone butch. And it wasn't until understanding the demisexual, because I couldn't understand it. I'm like, I'm just stoned. That just must be it. But I'm not. I just need that emotional connection. So
it's funny that you bring that up, because I didn't know what that was until here recently. I was interviewing Frost. And and we were talking about one of her children and all, and I've tried to explain to people the way I felt for a long time, but there was no word for it. And
God.
You know, and she said, she was talking and she said, and I said, what is that? I'm 55 years old and I never heard that. What is that? And she told me, she said, 55 years old and now I have a word to go by, you know, because I do. I have to have a connection with someone. Your sexuality, whatever, doesn't matter to me. There is something, there has to be that connection, you know? And so I was like, I got a name now, I got a name.
I always thought I was just a gentleman. I always thought that I had grown up, you know, watching the 1920s and 30s kind of like shows and movies. So that's where I got the whole gentleman thing. Because they're like, Jackie, are you not looking at my boobs? I'm like, no, not at all. And I'm staring them straight in their eyes. And they're like, I don't understand. Most people are looking at my, like, just call me Gentleman Jack. I'm good. No.
But you know now. It's because you need to get, you're trying to get that connection to see first. Like for me, I'm not going to be sexually attracted to you unless there is some type of intellectual connection between the two of us. So I'm not going to look at your boobs or your crotch or whatever until I have that other connection that's going on. But that's fucking sexy, you know.
Exactly.
So you still dating 3?
Well, September is the West Coast date. October is the Chicago date.
Oh, we're going to have to come back and have like bedtime stories with Jackie.
Yeah.
I want to hear all about it. That's awesome, though. You enjoying yourself? You enjoying that part of your life, though?
I am.
The flirting, the getting to know people again?
I always do that. So I am a extroverted introvert. So I will flirt and I'll make a round and it'll look like I'm having a great time. And I'm like, okay, my hour's up. Time to go recharge. I'm done. Or however long it is. But I am having a really good time. And I'm glad that my bus crawl is coming back. Because I enjoy that immensely.
Tell us about that.
Okay, so I don't remember when I actually started it, but I had this idea, God, back in 2006 or 4 or something or other, about taking a bus from the DC Eagle to the Baltimore Eagle to Philly and the bike stop all in one night. And it was a lot of fun. Each one is different. Like the first one, there was no little sexiness or sexy time or blowjobs or anything happening until we were on our way back from Philly. The next bus crawl, we didn't even get out of DC before people was naked and swinging off poles and sucking, and then fucking happened between Baltimore and Philly. So that they slept on the way back. So each one is different. But it's a whole lot of fun. It allows sort of like a group to have its own dynamics. And sometimes there's couples there. There's people that add a third, fourth, whatnot, anonymous. It's just sexiness. It's live porn. That's what I call it. Live porn.
So when is it?
September 15th. It's my birthday. So
September 15th.
Yeah, I decided I was going to, what else would a title holder do but have an orgy on your birthday?
Oh, man. In a bus.
In a bus. Well, the last time I was a title holder, back in 2009, I was Miss Capital Pride London. And I had, along with the mister, our birthdays were about 2 weeks apart, if that. And so we ended up having a third floor orgy, or actually orgy on the third floor of the DC Eagle. And so, yeah, that was a lot of fun. But this is going to be actually on my birthday. But I got to volunteer to take my birthday spankings on all 4 cheeks. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
Exactly.
I think I know what I'm doing on the 15th.
Come on down. We're going from the DC Eagle straight to Philly and back. So it's a little condensed.
Yeah.
It's just a down and dirty one. So we're leaving DC a little bit later and then going up and back from Philly. And people in Philly like to show up and show out.
That's amazing. So what's next? Where are you going next? Where are you going from here? You said you're going to judge.
I'm going to Dallas, judging the International Leather Sir, Leather Boy. Not the boot black part, but that contest. Then I'm going to have a little bit of downtime in Atlanta with some friends of mine. It's Dragon Con as well as Black Pride. So we're going to mix that in a little bit.
Oh, man.
Next week I'm doing the Imperial Court of Washington, D.C.'s coronation. My best friend is the current Empress. And then it's the bus crawl. Then I come back here for a brief moment, do the PBR bull riding extravaganza down in Fairfax, and hop on a plane the next day to Oakland, and then head to Hawaii, then to Folsom, then home for like a day or so, and I give up.
I don't know how you can do any more after that. I'd be crawling. But, so we're almost out of time.
Okay.
And, God, you're so much fun.
What constitutes fun?
Man, just listening to you and all the great things that you're doing. And
I kind of think I'm boring.
And, I don't know.
Boring.
And you're obviously changing our community in a good way just by being out there.
Well, thank you.
You know, I appreciate you sitting down and talking to me.
Not a problem. All you do is ask.
I'm going to ask a lot more, trust me.
Okay.
But we just won't have the video cameras then.
Hey.
So can I get me a hug?
Absolutely.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
You're welcome.